On the Zhongyuan festival in 2023, a red rain fell, and the air was filled with the stench of decay. Looking down from the tall building, there were flames everywhere. The streets were filled with panicked crowds and bloodstained stores. In the news, the image of the host having his neck bitten off by a zombie made my legs go weak, and I slumped on the sofa shivering. I was well aware that I had a poor constitution. Even a common cold could be life-threatening for me, let alone fighting against zombies. Instead of living in constant fear, it would be better to turn into a zombie directly. Maybe I could even get a position in the management. Holding a mop, I tiptoed up to the peephole, ready to open the door and stab at the zombie. However, the neighbors next door had already mutated. The wife was frantically biting the husband, and after the husband died, he got up in a strange manner. This scene made my scalp tingle, and I immediately gave up the idea of going out. There were only a few bags of instant noodles at home. I let out a long sigh and resigned myself to waiting for death. It was in chaos outside, but I slept peacefully. Early the next morning, I prepared to make a deluxe instant noodle meal, adding 2 pieces of ham and a marinated egg. Just as I was about to cry, cola actually flowed out of the faucet. I took a lick, and it was really cola. The faucet had become a spirit. Give me some Sprite. Damn coffee red wine. In the following 3 days, I realized that it wasn't the faucet that had become a spirit, but my house. It had evolved. The faucet could automatically turn into cold water, hot water, cola, Sprite, coffee, milk, etc. according to the demand. The clothes made by the wardrobe were fireproof, waterproof, lightning-proof, knife-proof, gun-proof, bulletproof, and could even withstand the extremely cold temperature in the polar regions. The balcony had an internal mustard space, where an ecological pasture and a plant breeding base were built. The refrigerator updated the food at 0 o'clock every day, randomly grabbing from nearby locations or selecting from the mustard space. While everyone else was struggling to survive, I was leisurely munching on potato chips and lying in bed watching TV. 20. In the middle of the night, I got up to go to the bathroom and happened to meet a pair of eyes glowing green by the window. Brother Fong, help. The ceiling dropped vertically by 3 centimeters, and a bullet accurately hit the zombie's head. A group of flying zombies crashed into the window one after another. Unfortunately, they didn't understand the high quality of the glass in my house. I was drinking the Lafite from 1982, eating the M8 Australian Wagyu beef, and watching the zombies get shot in the head. This feeling, described in one word, is extremely exhilarating. Today, large-scale power outages began in the surrounding area, and the temperature in the air rose sharply. I opened the window, and the scorching air rushed in. The outdoor temperature had already reached as high as 50 degrees. Brother Fong, get me a thermometer. As soon as I finished speaking, through the surveillance monitor, I saw the zombies in the corridor become agitated and rush towards my house. Brother Fong, I exclaimed. A cold mechanical voice sounded, eliminating the enemy for you. The mechanical guns eliminated the zombies, the doors and walls repaired the dents, and the green plants on the balcony purified the zombie corpses and extracted the crystal cores. I was pleasantly surprised to find that the upgrade of the house's evolution level required zombie crystal cores. No wonder Brother Fong had been killing zombies all the time. Brother Fong, don't you have a human form? I asked tentatively. The next second, a tall and slender figure appeared in front of me. He was wearing a pure white Air Force uniform, and the muscle lines were faintly visible. As you wish. He knelt on one knee, tilted his head slightly, and looked up at me. You're blushing. I cleared my throat. It's too hot. I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable. Brother Fong took out a zombie crystal core and motioned for me to eat it, saying it was good for my health. I hesitated for a moment, then placed the crystal core on my forehead. After a few seconds, the crystal core disappeared, and a surge of energy flowed through my body. I stretched out my hand, and a ball of wind was dancing at my fingertips. Brother Fong, this is a water-based ability. Yes. He nodded. I excitedly threw myself at him, and felt his warm touch and the sound of his heartbeat. Brother Fong, you are my god. 1 month later, the glaciers melted, the tsunami flooded part of the ground, the fresh water resources were scarce, and the living environment of humans deteriorated. With zombies and natural disasters, I would definitely die if I went out. Fortunately, I have Brother Fong to protect me. I sighed. Brother Fong kills zombies, extracts crystal cores, upgrades, cooks, and does the laundry every day, while I almost don't move except for some head movements and picking my feet. Brother Fong, do you think I should go out Anchangdang Changdang? I asked tentatively. It's dangerous outside. He answered instantly. After eating so many crystal cores, I really want to know my current strength. Very strong. He answered without hesitation. Then if there is an emergency in the future and you're not here, I have to protect myself. No need. I will always be here. His voice was full of a sense of security. I continued to lie on the bed like a lazy person, and Brother Fong waited on me by the side. Life was really comfortable. However, the thunderstorm weather brought a troublesome piece of news. I was munching on spicy strips and watching a TV drama with Brother Fong, when suddenly the sound of broken glass came, and an uninvited guest appeared in front of me. Handsome guy, who are you? He was taken aback. How do you know I'm a college student? Your eyes give me a feeling of being clear, but also a bit stupid. I teased. Brother Fong placed 3 purple crystal cores in my palm. Fighting with him will let you know your strength. I looked at Song Shen. There was a lot of blood on his clothes. Obviously he was injured. Forget it. I don't want to bully an injured kid. I shook my head and started eating the purple crystal cores on my own. Song Shen looked shocked. Purple crystal cores. Were the 3 high-level zombies that appeared in Guangxi City killed by you too? Brother Fong nodded calmly. Should I throw him out? He looked at me, his eyes showing his usual indifference. Unrelated people stay away. Wait a moment, little brother Song Shen. You just said you came to inform everyone to evacuate. What do you mean? Guangxi City is one of the origin places of zombies. The number of zombies here is huge, and they have extremely strong variability. The high level of the base army has decided to bomb Guangxi City in 7 days. Soon, this place will become a ruin. Seemingly, his wound had split open, and his expression showed some pain. I'm the captain of Team C of the Central Base Army. My mission is to lead the survivors in Guangxi City to evacuate. Bombing? Then what about my house? And what about Brother Fong? Just bomb it like that? This is a house I Haburongyi bought. I had taken out a loan from the bank that would take 800 years to pay off. And then the housing prices depreciated during the nucleic acid testing era. I had accepted all that and struggled to survive. Now that I had finally lived the ideal idle life, and the house was going to be bombed? Okay, fine. Rather than evacuate, I'd prefer to die with my house and Brother Fong. Brother Fong, throw him out. His ability level is very high, and throwing him out won't do him any serious harm. Song Shen. Wait, won't you really consider evacuating? There are houses to live in at the base too. You and he can kill high-level zombies. You are high-end talents we attach great importance to. The house allocated to you then will definitely be no worse than this one. Before he could finish speaking, he was grabbed by a mechanical giant hand and thrown out. The little figure drew a beautiful arc in the air. I turned around, my eyes moist. Brother Fong, we're going to die. Brother Fong still looked calm and composed. He took a tissue to wipe my tears. Don't cry. Hearing this gentle voice, the more I thought about it, the sadder I became. Mudslides, earthquakes, the nucleic acid testing era, the zombie apocalypse, the city bombing. I had experienced everything. I sniffled. There are still 7 days left. Let me think about how to spend them. He seemed to smile helplessly. A house is just a carrier. We can find another one. There's such an operation. Brother Fong, as expected of you. In my excitement, I caught sight of a hand outside the window. It was Song Shen, looking dusty all over. After he stood still, he coughed several times in a row. Cough, cough, cough. I said I'd come back again. How did you get up here? I flew up while shaking my flower, like hands. I don't believe it. Show me by shaking them now. He was silent for a second. Under Brother Fong's intimidating gaze, he shook his flower, like hands, shook his flower, like hands, and actually flew up in a spiral. I was dumbfounded. You're unwilling to evacuate because the house has mutated, right? When he was suddenly thrown out by the mechanical giant hand that appeared, he had already guessed. Yeah, so if we go back to the base with you, make sure to allocate a bigger house. Thank you. It seemed that the green plants on the balcony knew that we had reached an agreement with Song Shen. Several branches extended from them and pierced into Song Shen's body along the bloodstains. A flash of green light passed, and all the wounds on his body had healed. He looked incredibly disbelieving and stuttered when speaking. TT. The flowers and plants here have a healing function? For the next while, the house was forced to play a music duet. Brother Fong and I were discussing the furniture, decoration, and functions of the new house in the future. Song Shen was visiting every corner of the house, constantly exclaiming and gasping in admiration. So this is the mechanical giant hand? There are so many advanced devices. The wall is so hard. Damn it. And it can repair itself automatically. Suddenly, Song Shen flashed in front of me, scaring my heart into pounding. Are you okay? He was excited and grabbed my hand. Sister Lujia, can I ask you a favor? Just say it if you have something. Can I live with Brother Fong? Could this kid be planning to study Brother Fong? Little brother, you'll get beaten to death. Then you're agreeing? I nodded. Don't come to me if you get beaten. Sister, you're truly my only sister. Thank you, thank you. Sure enough, 3 seconds later, he was thrown out of the room by Brother Fong. I calmly glanced at him. If you don't listen to your sister, you'll suffer. In the afternoon, some noises came from outside one after another. I opened the curtain and saw a group of living people downstairs. The person in the lead was dressed exactly the same as Song Shen, with the logo of the Central Base Army on his chest. Brother Fong, how many people are still alive in this vicinity? About 500. Had the population really decreased to such an extent? Song Shen, who was also an ability user, had sharp hearing. Are there only 500 people left in Guangqi City? He swallowed and asked tentatively. By the way, aren't you going to let them up? Why should I let them up? They're here for rescue. I see there are quite a few old, weak, sick, and disabled people in the team. You have abundant supplies here. And there's also Brother Fong. This is an excellent. My expression turned cold. So? Just because they're old, weak, sick, and disabled, and I'm strong while they're weak, I have to shelter them? Just because I have equipment and supplies in the apocalypse, I have to be kind-hearted and share some with every passer-by? How do you know that they won't have other thoughts after they come in? The 3 consecutive questions left Song Shen speechless. Sorry, sister, I was wrong. Now immediately go to the utility room. I've never been a saint, nor do I believe in so-called human kindness, especially in this apocalypse. As soon as Song Shen left, I quickly returned to the room and turned on the computer to play games to calm my mood. If Brother Fong hadn't checked his identity, I would have thrown him to the zombies long ago. Even in the apocalypse, this is still an era of nepotism. Song Shen is a high-ranking official's child. His father is the deputy commander of the Central Base Army, and his mother is a staff member of the Vaccine Research Institute. He has already reported the situation here to the Central Base. What's more troublesome is that he has a chip on him. Even Brother Fong can't figure out the specific function of this chip. Take action. Wouldn't that lead to being wanted globally by the Central Base? I can't afford to provoke them. Are you still angry? I looked in the direction of the voice. Brother Fong came in with my favorite snacks. I'm not angry. It's just that he and I have different views. Song Shen has never experienced the hardships of society. As soon as the apocalypse started, he became an ability user, an outstanding person among humans. With such a family background, whether before or during the apocalypse, his material conditions have always been met. Naturally, pursuing beliefs has become a more normal thing. If I were him, I would also Zhengtian Shangzhe Zhengzhou Shijier. Brother Fong stood silently beside me, not saying a word, but his presence calmed my anxious heart. Half an hour later, 2 pieces of paper were slipped in through the crack of the door. They were densely filled with words, an apology letter with the signature Song Shen. The handwriting was quite good. I opened the door and saw him standing straight outside, his face flushed. Sister, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have imposed my thoughts on you. The house is yours. It only belongs to you. You can do whatever you want with it. We didn't have any relationship originally, and it's a troubled time. You don't have to do anything for them. Also, I judged you with a petty mind. I read the investigation materials sent by my dad, and thought you really didn't care about your parents' lives. Brother Fong told me that you had already connected a subsystem to the place where your parents are when the house evolved. Seeing that he was about to continue, I interrupted him mercilessly. All right. If you keep talking, it will seem like you're reciting a script. I blinked. Considering that Brother Fong had personally guided him, and his good attitude, I reluctantly forgave him. Hee sister, don't worry. I'll protect you like Brother Fong in the future, and never let a single hair on your head fall. I lose so many hairs from staying up late every day. I mean when in danger. In the following days, life was plain and fulfilling. For me, who is not good at socializing, having another friend besides Brother Fong to be crazy with me really feels great. 24-hour countdown to the bombing started. It's time for us to evacuate. Before leaving, I imprinted everything here in my mind, so that I could restore it in the future. But the restored home would never be this one. I was in a low mood. Unexpectedly, Song Shen was even more reluctant than me. I will always remember this period of time. With tears in the corners of his eyes, he lowered his head and kissed the green plants for environmental protection. Healing elf, I'm leaving. Take good care of yourself. The green plants for environmental protection wilted at a visible speed. Seeing this scene, I twitched the corners of my mouth. Come on, let's go quickly. The mechanical giant hand sent us downstairs. As if it knew its impending fate of being bombed, it stroked my head when it left. On its palm, a line of words appeared. Goodbye, master. I turned my head aside, not wanting to let the tears fall. Brother Fong stepped aside to block Song Shen's inquisitive gaze. 1 minute later, I composed myself. I'm ready. Let's go. When I looked back again, even though we were thousands of miles apart, I could still clearly see those several patches of green on the balcony. Green that represents new life and hope. Brother Fong found a car with an ample supply of fuel. It should be enough for us to reach the neighboring city. Along the way, I looked at the scenery passing by and felt a twinge of sentimentality. A city that once had a population of hundreds of thousands was now so deathly still and desolate. The population of Guangxi City was large, but in the midst of the zombie frenzy, only a small portion of people managed to survive in the end. Did you lead all the survivors to evacuate? Of course. Our base army is very capable. We've killed a great number of zombies too. Song Shin kept chattering on. The car suddenly came to a screeching halt. Due to inertia, my head collided with the soft seat of the passenger side. Brother Fong, what's wrong? Be careful. Song Shin reacted and said, it seems we haven't seen any zombies along the way. Something's not right. Just as he finished speaking, a strong tremor emanated from beneath the ground. The surrounding space began to collapse downward. Brother Fong decisively moved from the driver's seat to the back seat, and, looking somewhat tense, grasped my hand. Feeling the warmth in his palm, I felt a surge of security. Even the sense of weightlessness from the descent lessened considerably. Hold on tight. We're going down. A thick plume of black smoke billowed up from below. I was choked and coughed continuously. Song Shin exclaimed, damn it. Why is this smoke so irritating to the eyes? In a daze, it seemed that the car landed on a platform. Brother Fong carried me out of the car door. Song Shin, still feeling dizzy, said, as expected of Brother Fong, he's completely unaffected by this black smoke. I was stunned by what I saw. We had fallen into a sunken platform that was at least half the size of a stadium. Inside, it was divided into small transparent rooms by glass. Blackish-red gas clusters floated aimlessly in the air, giving off an extremely eerie atmosphere. What on earth is this place? Song Shin tentatively pushed open the door of one of the rooms. This action seemed to awaken something, and all the doors opened accordingly. Inside each room, there were corpses, the time of their death unknown. Most of them had undergone zombification. There were also body parts on the ground, mostly incomplete, such as hands, feet, or disfigured faces. This place was as if it had been reaped by the great scythe of death. Bloodstains were mixed with severed limbs, resembling a hell on earth. What exactly is this place? It's so sinister. Soon, the answer was revealed at the end of the corridor. A humanoid figure soaked in blood appeared in front of the huge mirror, with black intestines dragging from its legs. Then a group of zombies emerged behind it. Sensing the presence of living beings, they let out a hooch sound and pounced towards us in an extremely eerie posture. An indescribable stench assailed my nostrils, and my stomach churned violently. If I hadn't eaten nothing, I would have vomited already. Damn it. It's a zombie horde. Song Shin's expression turned tense. He stretched out his hands, and balls of flames ignited in his palms. Brother Fong, on the other hand, took a protective stance in front of me. Stay here and don't run around. As soon as the words left his mouth, a blue light curtain with a strong sense of science fiction suddenly appeared around me. I pushed the light curtain with a small water sphere in my hand, and it was quickly absorbed. This was a true protective shield that could block all levels of attacks on Earth at present. I felt a little more at ease. With Brother Fong here, the zombie horde was nothing to fear. As a coward, I couldn't bear to look at such a bloody scene. I turned around and sat on the ground, waiting for it all to end. The zombie horde was quickly dealt with. Only the monster standing at the end of the corridor remained. Song Shin gasped for breath and said, Brother Fong, it's just this thing left. Shall we attack together? In response to him was a period of silence. Not hearing Brother Fong's voice, I suddenly felt a sense of unease. Brother Fong. I tilted my head, wanting to know what was going on, and saw a terrifying sight. The humanoid monster raised its head, and steel tentacles emerged from its limbs. It let out a sinister laugh and said, Earthlings, give up your delusions. He can't kill me. At this moment, I didn't have time to think carefully about its address to us. All my attention was focused on its blood-stained face. It looked exactly like Brother Fong. Song Shin's eyes were filled with shock, and he involuntarily retreated to my side. Damn it. This is terrifying. Brother Fong is a system that can make the house evolve in the apocalypse. Then what about this monster? Also, why does it call Song Shin and me Earthlings? Are systems products of the high-dimensional world outside the Earth? Is this apocalyptic disaster of humanity related to them? My mind was in a daze, and coupled with the smell around me, my reactions became slower and slower. Song Shin suddenly let out a shout. Brother Fong, be careful. Before losing consciousness, I could only see Song Shin rushing towards me in a hurry, and Brother Fong, who was kneeling on one knee in the distance and obviously injured. Sister. What's wrong with you, sister? My body ached terribly. Even my internal organs were in pain. It was as if something was piercing through every part of my body, using sharp ice picks to randomly pierce countless holes. I endured this pain for a while. Immediately following it were extreme heat and extreme cold, repeating in a cycle, as if it would never stop. I don't know how long it took, but everything finally returned to normal. When Song Shin saw me open my eyes, his face was filled with joy. "Sister, you're finally awake. You have no idea how terrifying you looked. You were twitching nonstop at one moment, and then you were either shivering with cold or having a high fever. It worried me to death." I felt that I was lying on a bed, and there were inscriptions of the base army by the bedside. "We've evacuated. Where's Brother Fong? And that monster?" My throat was hoarse, and I felt weak all over. What on earth had happened? Song Shin replied instantly, "You've been asleep for a day and a night. We've already reached the stronghold of the base army in the neighboring city. You know how powerful Brother Fong is. He eliminated the monster in a flash. Seeing that you were in a bad state, he gave me a bunch of things and told me to take good care of you. He went to the central base first to choose a house. He wants to decorate the new house just like the old one, and plans to give you a surprise when you wake up." Seeing my skeptical look, he took out 2 stones from his pants pocket. "Here. These are communicators made by Brother Fong. We each have one." When I placed my finger on the stone, I could hear Brother Fong's voice. "Press the left side for communication, and the right side for leaving a message. Since it's a surprise, I'll just pretend I don't know for now. Song Shin, when can we reach the central base?" "At the earliest in 2 days. Let's set off tomorrow." "No way. Your body hasn't recovered yet. Your protest is invalid." Watching Song Shin scratching his head, unable to come up with any solution, and just keeping on protesting, I found him so cute that I couldn't help but laugh. Well, if I weren't an only child, having a younger brother like Song Shin would surely bring more joy to my life. 2 days later, when I arrived at the central base, I realized what it meant by "in the apocalypse, my father is the deputy commander." Everything went very smoothly. I came to the new house allocated to me. As soon as I entered the door, I smelled the most familiar scent. Brother Fong. He was cooking for me in the kitchen. Upon hearing me, he smiled and said, "I'm here. You can watch TV first." By the time an episode of the TV drama ended, the dishes were already on the table. They were my favorite cola chicken wings, steamed pork belly with rice flour, lemon chicken feet, braised potatoes, and spicy lotus root cubes. Wow! Then I'll start eating. I ate 2 bowls of rice in a row, and had about half of each dish. I seemed to be eating happily. In fact, I couldn't taste anything. My mouth was only filled with a sour and astringent taste. But only by constantly stuffing food into my mouth could I suppress my sobs. He pressed down on my chopsticks with his hand. "Stop eating." The air turned deathly silent in an instant. "When did you realize something was wrong?" "Since I got injured and you weren't by my side." I took a deep breath. "This place looks exactly the same as our previous house on the surface. But just now, while you were cooking, I tested everything, and none of them have any functions." "You didn't expect that I would see my parents' names on the registration form, did you? If you want to bring them here, it means the subsystem has failed, and the original place is no longer sufficient to protect them." I couldn't hold back the tears in my eyes, and my voice was filled with an unprecedented choke. "And the failure of the subsystem indicates your death, doesn't it?" He didn't answer me. Instead, he gently raised his hand and wiped away my tears. "Let's talk outside." He led me to the top of a tall building. I had a fear of heights, yet at this moment, even if there was an abyss beneath my feet, I had absolute courage to be with him. "I'm from planet E. On my planet, there is only cold temperature and endless frost. Everyone wanders among other planets to survive. So initially, I came to Earth with a mission. Earth is truly beautiful. However, no one could have foreseen that within such a short time, it would encounter an apocalyptic disaster. With waste being dumped recklessly, ecological environment being polluted, and international wars never ceasing, this apocalyptic disaster was brought upon ourselves. My mission was no longer to study humans, imitate them, and blend in to live among them, but to wait for the death of humanity and completely take over this planet." I slightly tilted my head to look at him. His expression and tone were still so calm, yet a layer of frost seemed to congeal on his face, as if lamenting the fate of humanity. In the midst of all those fluctuating emotions such as sadness, despair, world weariness, and killing, I chose you, the optimistic you. Optimistic? 5 minutes after observing you, I realized that this word wasn't suitable to describe you. He paused for a moment. "You're more complex than I imagined." Facing his intense gaze, I evaded his eyes and didn't respond. "That monster is my dark side. After sensing that I was acting against the mission, it was born. It not only accelerated the speed of the zombies' destruction of the world, but also constantly influenced human judgment of the situation. I had also thought that with the rapid development of global technology, even if zombies emerged, the reaction shouldn't be this slow. Even after over a month, so many countries around the world still couldn't come up with good countermeasures. It turned out that it was the dark that was influencing. The first time, I only wounded it. The second time, I decided to perish with it. The frost on his face grew heavier, and his body seemed to reach its limit. He suddenly fell into my arms. I burst into tears instantly. Brother Fong. It's okay. It's just that my energy is almost depleted. You can't die. If you die, who will protect me? Without you in the house, I can't survive in this apocalypse at all. You can do it, he smiled. You always thought that it was me and the house that were protecting you. Actually, it has always been you who has been protecting yourself. Specks of light entered my mind. His hair began to dissipate, like flakes of snow, falling in the air. Brother Fong, you're an alien. You're immortal, right? Even if you're not immortal, there must be a way to be resurrected, right? Speak to me. Answer me. His eyes flickered. Yes, we'll meet again. I'll always remember your face. A mechanical voice sounded. Face recognition is in progress. He extended his beautiful hands and placed them on my face, saying his last words. Don't cry. It started to snow. There was a commotion over at the Central Base Army. Report, sir. These snowflakes seem to have a life of their own. They only attack zombies. Now most of the zombies in the vicinity have been eliminated. Great. Our base can be expanded to accommodate more survivors and build a new city. This is the work of a god. Humanity still has hope. I stared at the heavy snow and the potted plant in my arms, remaining motionless for a long time, until Song Shen came to find me. Sister, let's go back. Uncle and aunt are waiting for you to have a meal. I turned to look at him. His condition was no better than mine. His face was deathly pale, his eyes were red and swollen, and he was in a poor state. He forced a smile. Sister, we three-dimensional beings calculate life by time. Brother Fong and them exist in the form of consciousness. I poked the green seed in the potted plant with my index finger. Song Shen, you know what? Before, I didn't care about the destruction of the world at all. Until today, I realized that I want to return to the old world more than anyone. After saying that, I jumped off the tall building without hesitation. In my ears were the howling wind and Song Shen's heart-rending shouts. Sister! 3 seconds later, the power surging within my body fully awakened. I didn't seek death. Humans can only develop their maximum potential when they are infinitely close to death. I did it. The ground began to shake. Countless ice crystals broke through the ground and condensed into blue-white steps. I stood on the steps and safely reached the ground. A flash of red light. It was Song Shen. He jumped down following me. Blood-colored flames surrounded him, protecting him from harm. When he landed, he melted a lot of frost. Sister, you scared me to death. Sister, are you very powerful now? Was this heavy snow you're doing? Yes. What Brother Fong left me in the end was power. The power to protect myself and my family. I'm Lujia. My family is ordinary. My parents only have me as their child. They pinned all their hopes on me. I can understand the saying, hoping one's son will become a dragon and one's daughter will become a phoenix. So I studied desperately, going from a small county town to a big city. But when I graduated, I truly understood the meaning of a small town SWAT. I had no connections, no resources, and no particularly outstanding abilities. I was doing a job that was vastly different from my former dreams, and was full of confusion about the future. My parents always thought that I had a high-paying job and a high income in the big city, but they didn't know how much I had left after deducting rent, transportation, and unexpected expenses. Paying the down payment for a house almost exhausted all my savings. To pay off the mortgage, I saw a life that I could see the end of at a glance. Going to work, getting paid, paying back the money, going to work, getting paid, paying back the money. The relatives who usually ignored me suddenly became enthusiastic when they heard that I had bought a house. Wow, old Lou, your daughter is really promising. She's working hard in the big city and bought a house before she's 30. Jejia, your aunt knows a boy who also has a house. He's an honest guy and is in the same city as you. I'll introduce you to someday. It was about going to school, failing the postgraduate entrance exam, working hard, buying a house, going on blind dates, getting married to someone I didn't know, dealing with trivial matters after marriage, and living a muddled life for a lifetime. My parents would never know. I was sexually harassed by my male boss at work. If I hadn't been smart enough to record and take videos, I would have been framed and eliminated from the industry. Those blind dates introduced by relatives treated me like a commodity. Every word they said and everything they did made me feel disgusted. My best friend since childhood, for some unknown reason, drifted apart from me. Let the world be destroyed. There's nothing wrong with that. Until the end of the world really came, I found out. My parents got in the car with a lot of supplies. They, who had never left the small county town, wanted to come to the city thousands of miles away from home to find me, because they were worried about me. In the face of life and death, what they had on their minds was me. My friend called me. Hearing her voice, which was both strange and familiar, I thought it was an illusion, until she called me Jejia, and asked if I still remembered that we said we would go to the beach to watch the fireworks together. Before I could say, I remember, there were screams and biting sounds on the other end, and the call was disconnected. The arrival of Brother Fong was like a beam of sunlight shining into the darkness. Besides my parents, I had one more family member. 3 months after his death, my superpower reached its maximum value. Before, I didn't even dare to kill a chicken. Now, I often walk among the zombie hordes. As an S-class superpower user, I became the idol of the global survivors, attracting everyone's attention. Even my parents joked that our family genealogy would start with me from now on. I shook my head with a smile. With no people left, what's the use of a genealogy? Every day, I wander around the world, trying to see the former appearance of the earth through the ruins, but I can only see ugly zombies and a devastated landscape. I then realized that no matter how bad things were before, people could live with their families. Every family member would die someday, but at least not be bitten to death by sudden zombies. People could travel with friends after work, without becoming food for zombies from other places. It turned out that I was so eager to return to the old world. 10 years later, I sat on a tall building, looking at the blue sky. The global broadcast was playing an audio. Dear survivors, the protection scope of the central base has covered most of the cities in the country. There are abundant resources and advanced medical facilities. Hereby, we will receive international survivors in September 2033. There was a furtive sound of footsteps behind me. Without turning around, I knew who it was. Song Shun. Song Shun scratched his head. Sister, you're an S-class, and I'm also an S-class. Why are you so much more powerful than me? You're an S-class because your superpower has reached S-class. I'm an S-class because the highest rating is only S-class. A bit confused. Anyway, you're the big female lead in a power fantasy novel. You're the strongest in the world, right? Just say what you want. Song Shun rushed to sit beside me, smiling brightly. The latest news from the Vaccine Research Institute is that the vaccine that can turn zombies back into humans has been developed and is currently in testing. Did we succeed? The potted plant in my arms suddenly moved. I lifted it up. Sister, Brother Fong has sprouted. Under the sunlight, on the ruins, the first trace of green emerged. Vivid green representing hope. Every species touched by the hand of nature is a miracle remaining in the world. Humanity will eventually be reborn from the ashes of faith. The end.